Inside the Pylon, a Midwest College Football Podcast, joined by Clinton Boring. My name is Ryan Sakoviak. It is Monday, September 8th. We are heading into week 3 of the college football season. And Clinton, that's a perfect time for us to uncork some hot takes, overreactions, underreactions, appropriate reactions about what we've seen the first 2 weeks. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a weird day for me. My schedule changed fully this week. So instead of 7 to 1 on Mondays, I now work 7 to 5, and Wednesdays are 7 to 1. So Monday has felt like Wednesday all day. So in my head, we should be getting some Thursday night football tomorrow night, and yet I'm 3 days away from that. So other than that, it's been a really good day. Oldest is settling into his preschool routine again. The My Bengals are 1-0. It was an ugly win, but we got it done. And we got a very nice slate of college football, especially in the SEC, coming up this Saturday that I'm pretty stoked about. How are you, Ryan?
Clinton, I'm excited because we have something to talk about. We have a
What's that,
sponsor.
Ryan?
We have a sponsor. If you are watching live, you can see the logo in the bottom of the screen. Guys, we are excited this college football season to partner with Battle Bets, a brand new app for fake money college football betting leagues. Come join us at the Inside the Pylon League and compete with us and the college football community throughout the season. So here's how it works. Each week you are placing bets with fake money. The best way I can think to describe this is it's like a bull confidence pool each week in terms of you're picking games that you want to pick, and you are essentially placing money on how confident you are on your picks. So if your bets pay out, you get points. You get fake money into your account, and that is how whoever has the most money at the end of the week, that is your winner for the week. You can track your bets live as you watch the games on Saturdays through the Battle Bets app, and then you can earn points throughout the season to win the league. It is 100% free to join, and Battle Bets has told us that if we get at least 40 people joining this league, they will put up a $100 cash prize to the winner of the league. So, guys, you want to get in on this, it is, like I said, it is 100% free to join. We will be placing our bets all season long at www.battlebets.app/ITP. If you type that into your web browser, it will cue you to download the app, or you could just download it in your app store. It is an iOS-only app right now. They have not told me yet if they plan to make it an Android app at some point this season. So, sorry, Clinton, you're SOL on that one. But, guys, if you want to bet against me and my picks of the week, that'll be a fun way for us to kind of compete against each other. When you create your account, select Inside the Pylon from the ambassadors list, and you can also start a league with your friends too. Compete with your friends as well, or you can just invite them to join our league. That would be fun as well.
We would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I mean, we have our bets of the week each week. I plan on kind of integrating those picks of the week into my bets, so it'll be fun, a fun way for you guys to kind of test your mettle against me and my bets that have been so great so far this year.
He's not that hard to beat, guys.
Not that hard to beat. I'm having a really bad start to the season. So the betting opens on Tuesday mornings of each week, and betting locks when the first Saturday game is kicked off. And you want to make sure that you use your entire weekly budget because it does not carry over. How the money works is you receive a $2,000 budget to bet on spreads and over-unders, a $1,000 budget to bet on money lines, and a $500 allowance to bet on player/game props. So if you ever bet before, you kind of know what that means. If you have not bet before, you should give it a try. It's fun. Like I said, it is basically a free pick'em game where you're assigning confidence to your picks. So we'll kind of keep mentioning that as we go along, but we're excited to partner with them this year, and I'm excited to kind of compete with some people, right? Are you afraid of competition? Do you like competition? Do you think you're smarter than me? Do you want to place your bets against me? Let's do it.
Well, you guys are lucky, unless Clinton finds a way to get a Mac or an iOS here, that you would all lose if I was in the league, because we know I am the true ball betting knower on this podcast who actually doesn't spend money betting. So this is the perfect app for someone like me. If I want to get my fix on making bets that doesn't really cost money out of my own pocket, and then I can still have bragging rights over Ryan, this is the way to be. You can comment at us, tweet at us, whatever you want to do if you beat us with a week of play. But we will figure it out. But we would love if you guys would join us. This is a really exciting thing for us. If you guys have followed with us, we've earned ads this season, being in our fall preview section. And we appreciate if you guys would tune in and listen to those as well. I know it's a 30 seconds that you feel like is wasted, but it is beneficial to us. And then, of course, come please hang out with us in Battle Bets.
I mean, I should have made a sound for tonight. I don't have a good sound
You
for.
have the key sound for the Roland Player of the Week that we're about to
Oh
announce.
yeah, I forgot we're doing the Rolling Player of the Week.
We are back. Roland Player of the Week, Week 2. Let's flash back to Week 1. I am keeping track of all of these, so I will annoy you all, and every week I will go back one by one to tell you who our previous winner is. Probably not after we get so far. But last week's winner was Justice Haynes, 16 carries, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. This week, we had a couple guys who were pretty well in contention. One, your two runner-ups being Emmett Johnson of Nebraska, 14 carries, 140 yards. And if you guys can do math unlike Ryan, that's 10 yards per carry average. He had 2 touchdowns and a long of 47. The best I got's a long of 6, so I guess he's got me there. Wayman Jordan, the running back, the junkyard dog for the USC Trojans, 16 carries, 167 yards, 10.4 average, 1 touchdown, and a long of 36. However, in talking with my man, Ryan, we decided that the Week 2 Roland Player of the Week honors will go to Washington stud running back Jonah Coleman, 15 carries, 111 yards, 7.4 yards per carry, and count them, 5 tutties in their win over, I can't even tell what the hell this asinine logo is, some FCS opponent.
Oh, UC Davis. I watched way too much of that
That's
game.
right. Great game for Jonah Coleman. Listen, guys, Ryan and I, especially me, having him in fantasy football last year, college fantasy, we were on this guy from the get-go last year. If you have not watched Jonah Coleman play, he is arguably the best running back in the Big Ten and may very well be the best running back in the country. He is an absolute dude, a unit. You need to tune in and watch him. The Apple Cup, Washington's on a bye. Then you're going to get the Apple Cup, which is a rivalry game you should tune in and watch. And then in 3 weeks' time, Ohio State travels to Seattle, Washington to face off against Jonah Coleman and the Huskies. And you all should absolutely tune in for that.
You kind of stole my thunder there because that was going to be one of my overreaction or underreactions.
Oh, that's one of mine too. So maybe we should just combine them when we get kicking off for that.
Fair enough. So this is kind of a pseudo stock check, I guess, if you will. Instead, we are hashing these as we're each going to make a statement that is going to be some level of asinine or not asinine. And then the other person will say, hey, man, that's an overreaction. I think you're being crazy. Or, hey, man, I don't think you're being strong enough with that statement. Or, I think, yeah, that sounds about right. So that's how we're kind of hashing this tonight. Clinton, do you want to kick things off here?
Let's kick things off with, I originally had this just as a plain question to ask Ryan tonight, and then he brought up to me this over and under reaction segment, which I thought was brilliant. So, Ryan, number one for me is this Saturday, let me get rid of the is. This Saturday is a must win for Notre Dame in order to make the playoff, in a sense.
I think that's an appropriate reaction. I know there's a lot of discussion on, well, Notre Dame could go 0-2 to start the season and then win 10 straight and still make the playoff. And I think that's certainly also a reasonable take. But I also think for that specific scenario to play out, a certain set of things would have to happen. Namely, they would need Boise State to get their shit together and not stink. They would need USC to continue to be a good, potentially ranked team as that game approaches. They would need, someone like Pitt or, God, I don't know what other ACC teams they play later in the season. Someone like Pitt, or I'm not even going to say Stanford. That's laughable. Someone else on their schedule would need, NC State, Pitt or NC State or someone like that would need to continue to win and make that a ranked game for this specific scenario to play out. I think a 10-2 Notre Dame that beats Texas A&M and loses a brain-dead mid-October game to like USC or NC State looks a lot more attractive, assuming A&M doesn't fall off the face of the earth like they kind of did at the end of last year. But no, I don't think it's an overreaction at all, at least purely from a vibe standpoint. Like you start 0-2 coming off of the national title game appearance and all of the belly aching and hand wringing. There wasn't even that much belly aching and hand wringing. You find the same belly aching and hand wringing in any fan base, but the goodwill takes of, you know what, sometimes you just lose to a good team on the road when your freshman quarterback's making his first start. All of a sudden, that's going to start turning into a little bit more venom if they go start 0-2.
I thought you were about to sneeze. You turned your head. I thought he was going to sneeze.
No, I'm looking at the dog doing her zoomy shit on the couch over there.
Uh-oh. So for me, I think it's a must win. I think 10-2 most likely gets you in, but I support your thought of that. It needs to probably be a special 10. You got, not only do you need 10, you got to win 10 straight, which is not easy.
They did it last year.
Football. They did, but back-to-back years and doing that, you mentioned the teams that they're going to be on their schedule that could present a bumpy challenge to them. I think it would be tough. I think Notre Dame needs this. I don't think 10-2 is a lock for them to get in the playoff.
No, and I mean, people have rightly pointed out that Miami went 10-2 last year and did not make the playoff by virtue of not playing a very difficult schedule. And now, Miami did not have a team like the 2025 version of Miami on that schedule, if that makes sense. So, I mean, it could happen. But I think when you're Notre Dame and you don't have a conference championship to fall back on, or you don't get to pretend to puff your chest and say, we play a Big Ten schedule, put us in at 10-2, you're playing with a little bit of fire if you drop your two marquee games on the schedule. You just can't do that and expect to get the benefit of the doubt. And maybe you do, like the run they went on last year, maybe they do get a little bit of benefit of the doubt that they would not have gotten in past years. And again, like if Texas A&M's a good team, this isn't like last year when you lose to NIU and it's like, well, this is hanging over their head the rest of the season. And if you drop another game, then you're just validating that you're not a very good team. Like you lose to two teams at the start of the year with a first-time quarterback, two teams that are potentially going to be in the playoff conversation. I think that can kind of get hand-waved away a little bit if you improve as the season goes along. You win 10 straight games and you look progressively better while you do it. But that's just, you're asking for trouble and you're putting yourself in a position where you need help and you can't always count on that help to come.
And if Notre Dame loses on Saturday, it is a night game, and we will be live Saturday night after the game, so you guys will have your most fresh Ryan crash out ever.
Clinton, if they are losing that game at halftime, I might start binge drinking Oktoberfests.
Oh, gosh. This could be a really entertaining recap show for you guys.
And nobody listened to the podcast ever again when Ryan vomited all over his microphone.
Win or lose, Ryan still loses.
I do not. I don't drink anymore.
Just be pounding fizzy waters.
That's pretty. I think I had like 6 of them last night, and I woke up 3 times in the middle of the night to pee. It was insane. I need to stop doing that. Gotta stay hydrated. You gotta stay hydrated.
It's a lot of fizzy waters, man.
It's just water with carbonation in it.
Yeah. All right. What is your first one, Ryan?
My first one is Ohio State and Oregon are proving to once again be the class of the Big Ten and have separated themselves into their own separate contender tier.
I think that's, I'm going to say, I'm going to say overreaction. I think Penn State is still there. I've been the Penn State naysayer on this show saying that they'll make it into the playoffs, but they're not going to even make the championship because they're going to lose in the Final Four. I think Penn State has a slow start problem, and they've been kind of lackluster in the first 2 weeks, and they better figure it out when it comes to Oregon in 2 weeks. But I don't think I'm ready to separate Ohio State, Oregon from the rest of the pack at this point. I think at least week 1, you can usually give a hand wave to teams when they struggle. It's week 1 of the season. Week 2, I'm getting a little more doubtful. If Penn State comes out, and I believe they're playing Villanova this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they come out and are that pathetic against Villanova to start in the first half again, then I'm getting concerned. Then I'm thinking if you do that, and I know it's a home game and a whiteout with Oregon there, but if you come out and do that with Oregon and you're going to get yourself down 17-0, 17-3, I mean, you saw how fast Oregon can score in their last week's game against Oklahoma State. 2 scores in what, 90 seconds, you said?
Mm-hmm.
That can turn everything in a hurry for Penn State in that game. So right now, to me, I think that's a slight overreaction.
Um, well, I obviously don't because I said it. No, I mean, I said it a little bit on the recap show. I'm just kind of at a point now with Penn State that I'm just done hearing about it. I need to see it.
Yeah.
You brought in, and I think some of this too is you have all these other teams in this conference who've played similarly bad opponents to start the year and have just completely wiped the floor with them. And I think the expectation with Penn State was, well, you have the offensive line, you have the running game, you shouldn't even really like need to create juice for these games. You should just walk in and sleepwalk and still maul these teams. You have a guy who everyone is touting as one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. You have a improved crop of receivers. Like it should be clicking. And I get that you can't always just wave a magic wand with new receivers and just say, okay, now it's perfect. You still got to work on that chemistry as the season progresses. It's just how lackluster they have looked through 2 weeks that has me concerned because while you do have Villanova and you do have a bye week, so you're not losing the next 2 weeks. I mean, Oregon's firing at all cylinders right now, man, and I know that that's going to be a killer environment. I don't think that Dan Lanning team is going to be intimidated by it. It doesn't mean it's going to be an easy environment for them to play in by any stretch of the imagination. That doesn't mean that they're not going to have procedural penalties because the offensive line can't hear Dante Moore. But the way that Oregon looks right now and how easy they're making it look against a Power 4 team, I get Oklahoma State calling them a Power 4 team at this point in time is probably stretching it a little bit, but I don't know, man. I'm at the point with Penn State where I got to start seeing it before I'm going to start believing it.
Yeah. I think we were there. It feels like a broken record, right? And we said it last year at the beginning of the year. We said it again when they dropped the game against Notre Dame. We said it in the offseason. You can buy the hype and the stock all you want, but that stock's not going to take a turn of like Apple did in the early 90s if you don't actually show us something. So we'll have to see. It's an important next few weeks for Penn State to get this stuff figured out in order to be ready for Oregon. And hot damn, Ryan, we're going to get what? Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State, Washington in the same week. And Big Noon, I believe, does not have either one of those. So that would
No,
mean
they can't do a big noon at Washington.
Washington's going to be what? The 3:30?
I would assume it would be 3:30.
Brad
yeah.
Nessler's actually going to get a good game to call. And Kerry Danielson. Oh my God. They're like, thank God we don't have to call this garbage. Speaking of which, Big Noon will be at Northwestern this week to watch the Oregon Ducks. Probably use words I can't say on air to do bad things to Northwestern.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
Anyways, on to my next one. I'm looking down the list. It sounds like we have something that's somewhat similar. For me, Jonah Coleman should be the Heisman front runner. Overreaction? Underreaction, Ryan?
Well, I said Jonah Coleman is the best running back in the Big Ten, so I'm kind of there with you. I don't know about Heisman front runner. I think that's a tepid overreaction, but I mean it's probably closer than anyone would have thought to admit after 2 weeks. I mean, again, they've not played anyone. You'll have to keep it up against good competition. And the thing with the Heisman too, right? It's not unless you do something like Travis Hunter did that hasn't been seen in college football in multiple generations. It's an award.
What? Get his jersey retired for being on a team that went 9-3?
Yeah, well, that retiring that jersey makes sense. He won a Heisman Trophy, but it's a very difficult award for running backs to win, and it's also a difficult award for a running back who's on a team that's not in title contention to win. So for him to be in that conversation, he has to continue what he's doing once that competition starts to stiffen up a little bit. But he also needs his team to win, which is going to require that defense to get a lot better. No, he has a 3-touchdown game against Ohio State in 2 weeks, then
even in a loss, I think that would be.
Oh, for sure. No, I completely agree. Like if they lose a tight game and they can, like I said though, they have to continue to win. If they go 8-4, he's not winning the Heisman Trophy. He
Nope.
could break I mean, maybe if he broke Barry Sanders' record, then
I think about the lowest you can go to get a Heisman that I'm aware of in our time is 9-3. Wasn't RG3 and Baylor 9-3 when he won it?
yeah, I think that
And
sounds
then
right.
Travis Hunter was 9-3 last year. So that's about as low as you can go. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. The reason I brought this up is Robert Griffin III, whatever y'all think of his opinion or whatever you think of him as a broadcaster, he put out his list of Heisman leaders, 9 of them. Not sure why 10 or not 10, but he did 9 after week 2. And Jonah Coleman is not on the list. And every single person on the list is a quarterback. If we want to play this game, then just make it the damn quarterback award. And then let the Maxwell be representative of the best player in college football. Because a running back can win the Maxwell, correct? So it's essentially like Heisman 1B. I mean, at this point, I know it's 2 games, but you can't tell me that Jonah Coleman couldn't be in your top 9 or 10 of Heisman candidates right now. He is off to a fiery start. He has 7 touchdowns. I believe he's got 288 yards rushing. He's got a 7.4. Let me pull this up here. 7.4 yards per carry average. Ryan, and again, I know it's early comparing to last year, and he had a lot more runs last year, 193 carries to be exact. But last year was a 5.5 average. And the year before was a 6.8. And his lesser year, starting with Arizona, was 5 yards per carry. So he is, right now, he's 2 yards a carry above his average. He only had 10 TDs all of last season. He has 7 right now. That's fantastic. And just to leave him off the list, I find is a bit disrespectful.
Well, this is definitely a quarterback making a quarterback list
Yep.
because I don't know why you're putting Jackson Arnold and Talon Green and Baron Morton and Byron Bar. I get some of them, but like Sawyer Robinson's not going to be on there. By like they're going to be a bunch of 8-4 teams. These are not going to be Heisman contenders. And I get that everyone does their midweek or their mid-season. Here's my fucking playoff prediction thing. Here's my Heisman thing that is going to have no bearing because none of these are even going to come to fruition. But
just gives talking points. I get
yeah,
it.
it's just.
But
I mean, it's
still
content.
slightly frustrating.
I mean, it's
Give
a
some respect
variation.
to Jonah Coleman.
It's a variation of what we do.
All right.
Next one I have, Clinton. Michigan's subpar showing against Oklahoma proved that the talk of the Wolverines being a playoff contender was premature.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
You got wax in your ears, bro?
I don't. It's been a long day, man.
Michigan's subpar showing against Oklahoma proved that the talk of the Wolverines being a playoff contender was premature.
Oh, that's absolutely a perfect reaction because
I knew you'd say that.
it was absolutely premature. Like
You homer. You homer.
You know, you can call whatever you want. We knew before this season started that this team was not a legitimate playoff contender. Could they be? Yes, because their schedule allows for it, but they're not a true playoff contender. Like, come on, guys. And that showed in this game. And I'm going to tie my next one. I'm going to piggyback right off yours, Ryan. Given the performance against Oklahoma, is Sharon Moore the long-term answer at Michigan?
Now we're cooking with gas. That's spicy. That's I don't have a spicy sound in here. That's so unfortunate.
Chip, I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Well,
That's a take that someone who just slugged a 2-liter Mountain Dew would come up with.
yeah, well, maybe I did. See to my eyes. But I was listening to the Solid Verbal this morning, and that's kind of what they were talking about. So that's what prompted me to get into the thinking is he the long-term answer? And I feel like a lot of us thought when Jim Harbaugh left and Moore was promoted, he was the fall guy. If something were to come of whatever, that he would be the guy that fall on the knife and take one for the team. Here's your money. You're paid. Congratulations. Now, the other argument that people have is if Sharon Moore was actually that good of a coach, he would have been on the Los Angeles Chargers with the rest of Jim Harbaugh's staff. And Jim Harbaugh left Sharon Moore here because he's not a good coach.
Well, I think the money that you're getting as a Big Ten head coach is probably better than what you're
Depending
getting
on
as
what assistant he was going to be. I mean, Jesse Minter went with him.
Okay, but Jesse Minter was going to be a defensive coordinator, not the head coach.
Yeah. So, do I think he's on the? Is he the long-term answer? I'm not overly confident with it after the Oklahoma performance. I get it. You ended last year beating Ohio State and Alabama, and that's a lot of momentum, right? But Sharon Moore has got to have his hand in the play calling a little bit with Chip Lindsey, and many Michigan fans will tell you the play calling was not very good on Saturday, and it was very training wheel-esque that you didn't want to let Underwood just rip some down the field. Now, was that some of because you didn't want him to take a shot to his confidence, be the freshman that makes the bad errors? I don't know, man, but he's a $12 million quarterback. I'd let the kid sling the damn rock down the field. Maybe you don't have confidence in the people around him, which is what you and I have pointed to this entire time. So if Sharon Moore can't get this rolling, Ryan, if they drop the game to Nebraska in 2 weeks, he's not there, but he's not there because he's suspended. Does that bolster it even more that he's not the long-term answer?
Well, there's a couple things that just in this whole continuum of conversation that I would like to say. And one of these things I was thinking about today, and I think this ties in well to this football game we're watching right now while we watch J.J. McCarthy kind of scuff it up against the fucking Chicago Bears. I'm saying this like because my personal nature as a fan is just always pessimism. But if I were a Michigan fan, I would personally be very afraid that the offensive coordinator that we promoted to be our head coach doesn't have his sign stealing guy anymore. And he had all that success with the sign stealing guy and doesn't have it anymore. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thought, right? And whether you go down the path of he overdid it to steal signs, whatever. But if you have that advantage and now he doesn't, that could certainly change something. I mean, we
Right.
don't need to dig down that rabbit
And
hole.
this isn't a comment on all of like that or this is illegitimate or anything like that, but it was clearly an advantage. He called it the KGB and he went to great lengths to keep it going. Like there was a reason. You don't do that for something that's not an advantage. And there's been how many times have you seen Michigan fans since we've started this podcast over the last year and a half on the Twitter feed bitching about the play calling and the game planning?
Mm-hmm. A lot.
Like, put 2 and 2 together here, guys.
Yeah.
But regarding Michigan and the playoff contender, and when we had our preseason preview on Michigan, I think we did good at least framing our question as, or kind of our, hey, you don't have to squint hard to see how Michigan could be a playoff contender because of the schedule. It was completely extrinsic from the team itself. And this was the same thing that happened last year where everyone's like, well, yeah, sure, they're replacing a lot of guys, but it's Michigan. They always get the offensive line right. They'll figure it out. They didn't get the offensive line right last year. And what did they do in the offseason to improve it? Not a damn thing. They brought everyone back and they're like, oh, they'll just get better. They had no receivers last year. What was their answer to that? They got Indiana's 5th best receiver to come into their room. And this isn't Jamison Williams going to Alabama because he couldn't start over Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, who are making millions of dollars in the NFL. Like, Indiana had good receivers last year. You're not bringing in their 5th best receiver to be your number one, and that is going to drastically improve your wide receiver room. Bryce Underwood has no one to throw to. He has no one to protect him. They did nothing to address everything else that was ailing their offense last year and just thought it was going to get better this year?
Yep.
What's the definition of insanity, Clinton? You're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yep.
That's great. You change the quarterback. It's great you change the play caller. But if you don't have anyone for the quarterback to throw to and you don't have guys who can keep the quarterback off his ass, is that really going to do anything? Does it matter if you're calling quote-unquote better plays if your quarterback has 2.5 seconds to throw? Yep. He can't process anything because he doesn't know where the pressure's coming from. Because
you want to talk about
protection, right?
Hindrance of his development. It's that versus letting him sling it in a big game, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't put pieces around it, ask the Cleveland Browns this question. What happens if you don't put guys around a quarterback? You go through 20 quarterbacks in 20 years. It doesn't work. He's got to have the pieces, and I think Underwood has all the talent in the world. What do you think Bryce Underwood looks right now, Ryan? If you put him where Julian Sand is, or
Bro,
Jeremiah Smith,
I literally had an Ohio State fan in our mentions who was like, the moment was too big for him. I'm like, how can you say the moment was too big for him when he doesn't have a supporting cast? And then I'm like, how do you think it would look if he was on Ohio State right now and Julian Sane was on Michigan? He's like, well, obviously Sane would look better, but he's been in the system. He's been in college for a year longer. I'm like, there's no universe you believe that Julian Sane on this Michigan team would look any different right now. If you believe that, you're a fucking moron. I'm sorry, you're an idiot.
yeah, I
It's
agree.
not a quarterback problem. It's not a quarterback problem.
It's the O line and the wide
It's an
receiver
everything else
problem.
problem. It's
And
an
then
institutional problem. Their offense stinks.
The knock too is he doesn't even have Colston Loveland there to be a fallback the way
No.
that the quarterbacks did last year.
You had one pass catcher last year, and he's playing on the NFL right now as we speak.
Yep. And so it's
I
hard.
got so fired up, I scared the dog.
Sorry. I think another one I just popped up with. Let's continue on the Michigan path.
Oh,
If
we
the season,
I did not intend for this to turn into a dump on Michigan episode.
well,
but
no, I'm not trying to be. I'm being legit. Legit question here. You can answer yes, no. You can give a 2-sentence supporting for your reason, whatever. We don't need to spend 5 minutes on it. If this season continues to go down the path, and let's say Michigan goes 7-5, 8-4, and Bryce Underwood's not happy with what they have. They're not really bringing in receivers next year, at least in the recruiting class, to help him. Does Bryce Underwood just go in the portal?
no,
Okay.
no, I think that they're gonna go very, very, very heavy into the portal
You're going to have to.
tampering, not tampering game to get some wide receivers. And I think you can. Like when you have that quarterback, guys are going to want you play for Michigan. You're on national TV every week. You're playing for that brand. You have the quarterback there. I think you have to start showing a little bit something though, because those guys have to trust that the scheme is going to be there. Because I mean, it's the same problem Notre Dame had for a while. You couldn't get a portal receiver to come in. So like, why am I going to fucking come to your program and block?
Yeah. Well, it's also too, you need Underwood to continue to develop, right? If some, I mean, again, some of the passes he missed Saturday night were because he was hurried, bad receivers, O-line, whatever. But some of them were also just missed because he missed them. He just threw an errant pass. If that choppiness continues throughout the year, outside of money, you're going to have a hard time convincing big receivers who could go be a wide receiver one somewhere else with a more experienced quarterback to come to your school. I don't care how much Barstool money Dave Portnoy throws at him, who was bitching and crying at the end of the game after he made his big noon Fox proclamation that Michigan was going to whoop on Oklahoma and Bryce Underwood was just going to throw all over him. And I'm just like, Dave, this is why you should not be on Big Noon Kickoff. Anyways, I believe
you don't watch Big Noon Kickoff.
I didn't watch either one. I'm almost out with game day because there's no Lee Corso. All right, Ryan, on to my next one. Is the Iowa offense, more specifically their passing game, going to tank Iowa's season? I take the if out, or is the Iowa offense, and more specifically their passing game, will tank their 2025 season?
That might be an underreaction, honestly.
It could be worse.
This has been I guess one of the maybe it's just our feed, but this has been one of the popular talking points this week is what the hell is Iowa doing? Are they going to move on from Kirk Ferentz? And I don't know. And like even David Eicholt, who I think is 24/7 covering Iowa, he was getting questions about it on Twitter, and he had I thought he had a pretty insightful response. So he was talking about how here's a stat. Iowa is 0-10 in its last 10 games against ranked opponents, including bowl games. Maybe even more disturbing than that, yesterday's game was the only regular season game that Iowa was relatively competitive in. They were outscored 231-47. That's an average score of 33 to 6.7 in those last 10 games against ranked teams. So someone commented to him and said, in what other business does their quote-unquote coach keep their job? And he said, that's where it gets weird. He still wins. Iowa has won 97 games during the college football playoff era, that 11th most nationally during that span and the 5th most in the Big Ten. Also, one of 5 teams to have won at least 8 games in the last 9 years. So this is just such a weird situation for Iowa to be in because we've seen programs in the not too distant past make hasty decisions regarding a coach because they decided that what they were doing was not good enough and they thought that they could elevate their ceiling by making a change. And whenever we're talking about the mystery box, Clinton, we only think about what can go right. We never think about what can go wrong. And ask Nebraska fans what can go wrong when you get rid of a successful coach. So I don't know how I just turned this into a are they going to fire Kirk Ferentz talk. I don't think they are. But I mean, we talked about it on the recap show, man. Like at a certain point, you got to start looking at what the common denominator is. You change the OCs. In theory, you change the scheme. You've changed the quarterbacks, changed the receivers, changed the offensive line, changed the tight ends. Still can't throw the football forward. What's the common denominator?
Got to get you a cat.
I'm allergic.
I'm not talking to you. Iowa needs to get them a team cat.
Did you know that the Bowling Green football team has a team cat?
No, I did not.
Pudge
What's
the cat.
His name?
Pudge
Pudger?
the cat. Pudge.
Pudge. That's
Like
glorious.
Pudge Rodriguez. I don't think the cat's name is Pudge Rodriguez, but
Yeah, man. I don't know what Iowa does. We already talked about this, and if you guys want to hear, our specifics to it, check out the episode Saturday night. And it just the Leopards don't change their spots. It's just it doesn't feel like it's changing. So as Ryan said, it's the common denominator. It's Kirk Ferentz. Maybe that's where you need to make the change. Maybe if Tim Lester is the head coach of this team, it's better off for them. But you can't continue to be this poor of performance on offense. Well, you can in today's era, but then Iowa should be a team that every 5 years is dipping their toes into the playoff.
well, that's I guess ultimately what it comes down to is what do you want to be if you're Iowa? Do you want the stability of knowing you're going to win 8 games every year? And that's kind of going to be in your like where you're at. Like you're a high floor program, but your ceiling is basically maybe we can go 10-2 and backdoor our way into the playoff if the schedule falls right.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And you're not going to be competitive when you get there. You're going to get your ass kicked by anyone you'd play in the playoff because you don't have a functional passing game.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like, are you like if you're Iowa and the decision makers, if you're an Iowa fan, are you willing to risk that stability in the chance that it may get worse to potentially improve it? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what my thought would be because it's not like it's a consistently good program. Again, 11th most wins in the playoff era. That's a very, very, very successful program, but they've never made the playoff. How many Big Ten titles have they played for in that time span? 2,
I believe. Yep.
And they got their ass kicked both times.
The Michigan State one was pretty close.
Wait, I have no recollection of that game
They
whatsoever.
were close.
Okay.
That's the year Michigan State went to the
comment.
playoff and got eviscerated
Oh yeah,
by
I remember that.
Alabama.
I
They
remember
got
that one.
killed.
Oof.
And then Ohio State followed it up the next year with getting eviscerated by Clemson.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Maybe Jeff, if you're listening to this, you can comment your thoughts. I know how you feel about Kirk, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
Listen, when we went back, we both brought up was it March, our coaches potentially on the hot seat. Both of us had Kirk Ferentz. And it was no disrespect to him, but it was essentially saying if we can't get past this hurdle, the only thing you really have left to change is the man at the top sitting on the throne.
Like, look at Wisconsin too. Like they decided that what Paul Chryst was doing wasn't enough, and I know that the recruiting wasn't great, and there were probably some other behind-the-scenes concerns there that precipitated that. But you go out and you get Luke Fickell. He tries to change the entire identity of your program, and now you stink, and you're an afterthought in the Big Ten. And people are only talking about you this weekend because you might get murdered by Alabama.
Listen, Ryan, if we want to throw a Harry Potter reference in here for those Harry Potter nerds, in the Order of the Phoenix, Hagrid talks about his story of the visit with the giants. And Golgamath was the giant king. And guess what? The people got tired of Golgamath. So Carcass went to the man sitting on the throne and ripped his head off, which was found laying at the bottom of the lake the next morning. And Carcass was the new king. Tim Lester and the Iowa fans.
Idiot! Oh, what a loser!
Tim Lester and the Iowa fans rip off Kirk Ferentz's head, theoretically speaking, and it's down by some lake in Iowa the next morning. Tim Lester sits on the throne. Or Brian Ferentz comes back and is the new head coach.
I'm just,
Could you imagine?
I don't even know what you just said.
People will get the reference. Come
I
on. We got
don't-
Harry Potter love the last time I said it. Adam,
okay.
when you hear this part in the show, I want you to immediately text me.
Caramba. Okay.
Anyways, your next one.
My last one I have is our preseason take that the middle class of the Big Ten would be improved was overblown, and the expected contenders are going to separate themselves at the top in short order.
I'm gonna say underreaction. I think
Underreaction?
I chose the right one. Well, I think you're overreacting, saying that the top is gonna separate them because I believe there were still 3 kings at the top. I just felt like the middle of the Big Ten would just be more competitive and not look so like shit. Because of the SEC, it's the same thing every year. You have 3 top teams, and then people in the middle of the pack are just overly competitive.
Well, I think the difference in the SEC is your 3 top teams have variance year to year. Like some years it's
Do they?
Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. Sometimes you get an LSU in there. You
Do
get a South
they?
Carolina in there. You get a Missouri in there.
Outside of last year, Ryan, name me the last 10 SEC championship games.
Okay, I
Alabama,
get it.
Georgia, Alabama,
No.
Georgia, Alabama,
Okay,
Georgia, Alabama,
yeah,
Georgia.
but you have competition at the top for it. In the Big Ten, it's basically Ohio State and Oregon and maybe Penn State.
And 2 years ago, not Oregon, because
We-
Oregon wasn't in the Big Ten.
You got variance in the Big Ten in the past because somebody had to win the
in
West.
the West.
But it was basically Ohio State and Michigan.
It was a Swiss cheese Big Ten championship.
That's been
game
the
is what
big.
it
That
was.
has been the Big Ten.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know. I think the middle tier is still going to be what I expected. They're going to be harder to beat, and they might beat themselves up a little bit, but they'll be more competitive. I mean, Christ, you have Washington in your playoff.
Yeah, well, I also didn't have Ohio State in my playoff, and I immediately regretted that after the first week of the season.
And I should bookmark that.
Yeah, I'm sure someone did. I don't know. I just kind of typed that up because I wanted something spicy at the end. I think it's still too early. I'm saying my own take was an overreaction. I think it's still too early to make a broad spectrum proclamation because most of these teams haven't played anyone worth a shit yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like Minnesota hasn't played anyone. Oregon hasn't. I mean, I guess they played Oklahoma State, but they don't really count. Washington hasn't really played anyone. Yeah, that's all. Do you have any more?
I have a couple more.
Okay.
And then if we want, what we could do is focus on one, and then you could give me some quick responses, or you can give me quick responses to them all.
Okay.
So my next one, Michigan State will resume Big Brother status this season.
I think that's still a bit of an overreaction. Do you know what the did we really get beat that badly meter is?
No.
I think it might be Parker Fleming. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it on the Twitter here. It's at StatsOWar on football. It's did we really get beat that bad? It's net success rates in each game. So basically what it is I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to put up a picture here. I would put it up. Essentially what it means is that Michigan State should not have beaten Boston College because their net success rates indicated that Boston College, like more often than not, would have won that game.
Who's 2-0 and who's not?
Okay, but that's my point. Is sure you win the game. Like I'm gonna go on a little rant about ESPN FPI here because I want to pull my fucking hair out every time I see it get tweeted, and then people are like, "How does this make any sense? Why is Texas ahead of Ohio State?" Power rankings are not resume rankings. They are taking data that happens within games, and then they are meant to be forward-facing predictive measures of the future. Not looking at the past, they take the results into account. But if you look, because I say this because that same deserve to win, did we really get beat that bad? Like in week 1, Texas had a higher overall success rate than Ohio State and probably should have won that game, but lost on variance and the fact that Arch Manning couldn't throw a forward pass. So when you factor all that together, that's the stuff that goes into things like ESPN FPI is this team had a higher success rate, and if you were to play that game out the same way 10 times in a vacuum, Texas probably would have won it 6 or 7 times, is essentially what that's saying. So this is, again, essentially what I'm saying here is Michigan State won that game on variance and probably should have lost it. They weren't necessarily the better team in that game, and again, we talked about it after the show. You got to win your non-conference games if you want to make a bowl, given what their schedule is this year. But I think that once they get into Big Ten play, I think it still might be a little bit tough sledding for Michigan State.
Fair. Next one. Dylan Raiola will submit himself as Big Ten QB1 by mid-October.
Ooh. I'm going to say that's a slight overreaction just because Akron is god-awful.
Yeah.
And then they play Houston Christian this week, who is also god-awful.
More carries for Emmett Johnson.
So he might look really good, but I would like to see him against the Michigan defense as not as good as it might have been compared to last year. That's still going to be a stiff test for him. Okay. I do like that he's playing well against bad teams, though. I do think that's a big step in the right direction. But again, Akron might be the worst team in FBS.
I have 2 more here. This one kind of piggybacks off earlier, but just your general answer to it. Penn State's lackluster first 2 weeks is a sign of things to come against Oregon and Ohio State. And that sign being James Franklin still won't win the big one.
I think the overall premise is probably fair. I don't necessarily. I think it's maybe a little bit of an overreaction just based on the first 2 weeks. I just think that Oregon and Ohio State are better football teams right now, and unless something changes, I think Penn State's going to have a tough time, especially the explosiveness of Oregon's offense. We haven't really seen that explosiveness from Penn State,
period,
like in the Drew Aller era.
Yes.
And if you're, I mean, I guess they had a couple big plays in the Big Ten title game last year, but you're going to have to go tit for tat with Oregon, and I don't know.
They couldn't do it last year in the Big Ten championship.
I don't know that they have that gear.
Kenyon Sadiq is now the full tight end, and watching that man in person, he is like lightning as a giant human.
He's really good.
So, and then DeCorian Moore, if he gets rolling in the next few weeks, he's going to be a huge piece for Oregon. Maybe Mekhi Hughes learns the offense by then. Who knows? All right, my last one.
Oof.
And you kind of put me onto this one, Ryan.
Oh boy.
Ohio State's 2025 defense, only 2 weeks in, is better than the 2024 defense.
How did I put you onto that?
Because you brought up about how impressed you were with this team's defense after Texas.
Oh.
And how it might be better than last year's. And I'm saying that 2 games in, I'm already making the proclamation that their defense is better now than what it was in all of 2024.
I'm going to say that's a little bit of an overreaction because they just played Grambling State, who was not capable of punching back. Also, why the fuck did they play that game?
I don't know. Donation, $2 million felt bad for them.
I guess. Like, we need
had
to
like 2
stop.
white kids on the whole entire team. I think they felt guilty.
We need to stop with these FCS. Like, if you're a shitty P4 team or a G5 team and you want to play an FCS team, that's fine. There's no reason anyone from the Big Ten or the SEC should be playing these games.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that's borderline dangerous, man. Someone's going to get hurt playing a game that they have no business being out there.
Like Penn State playing Villanova and Penn State playing or Nebraska playing Houston Christian.
No, like if you want to stack your non-conference schedule, you want to do the Indiana and stack your non-conference schedule with cream puffs and play a bunch of crappy G5 teams. That's fine. You should not be playing, especially bad FCS teams. That's just ridiculous.
So I think
how's that fun for anyone?
The one thing I'll give Grambling credit for is that oftentimes in those type of scenarios, you see those teams come out and they're just trying to pound the rock and hopefully get a first down or 2 and burn as much time as possible and then just take their check and get out. Ryan, I'm assuming you did not watch a single second of the Ohio State.
Oh no, I told you. Sam made me watch the whole damn thing. It was in the quad box. It was in the quad box.
Well, the one thing I give Grambling credit for then was they actually ran an offense. Like, they didn't just line up and run, then punt it. They threw the ball a few times. They completed a few passes. They got the ball within scoring range. Now, they can't help it that their field goal kicker chucked one and missed it, but they gave Ohio State some stuff to look at, is what I'm saying. You're not taking a whole lot from it. But like Julian saying, Julian saying, for instance, his interception, that was a bad interception. You threw the ball late and you got intercepted. Now you learn. Don't do that when you go to Washington in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because that will also be picked off and probably housed for 6.
Anyway, speaking of bad teams playing good teams, I'm assuming you did not watch Texas play San Jose State at all.
I saw snippets of it, and I saw Arch Manning's massive grimace on his face on one of the balls he threw. And
Did
I
you hear that
clearly
Sark
agree.
quote today? Did you
Well,
hear that
no.
Sark quote today? Someone asked about it. Someone asked him, they're like, so Arch is hurt. And he's like, who told you that? He's like, Arch. He's like, Arch said that? He's like, well, no, but we could see him grimace. He's like, well, I'm not out there videotaping you guys while you're using the restroom and making those facial expressions. I'm like, brother, man, how on God's green earth did you make that leap to videotaping someone while they're taking a
Oh,
dump?
shit. Wait, what?
Dude, it was you got to go look it up after. It was insane. I'm like, this is a strange leap that you were making.
Yeah.
Like his stat line was fine. He hit a couple of wide open guys,
It
but
wasn't fine early, I don't
no.
think.
Well, he like overall, like I think he threw 4 touchdowns. He might or 5 touchdowns. He threw 4 and ran for 1, but he was missing guys, like wide open guys. He was duffing throws. He does not look good. Like there is something. I don't know if it's mechanically wrong. Again, I don't know if he's hurt. But watching that Texas game, it's not that I feel less confident in the Ohio State defense, but I think how he's looked now over 2 weeks, I'm not sure how much of that first game was Ohio State's defense solely or how much of it was Ohio State's defense plus Arch Manning's either hurt or there's something funky going on with him and he's just not where he needs to be right now. Because he did not look good in that game either.
Well, my assumption is he didn't look that way at the very start. We didn't see any grimaces, but I think you were onto something with he took a hit at some point, and maybe it wasn't a big hit, but that we just didn't think anything of. And
Yeah, you
here's my
just fall
thought.
the wrong way and tweak
let's,
something.
Let's watch him throw with appropriate mechanics, right? The one with the big grimace against San Jose State, he was pulling out the Patrick Mahomes sidearm throw, and that's the grimace. How does he look when he throws with his arm in the appropriate slot? And is he when he's rushed and hurried and doesn't get the appropriate mechanics, is that when he's getting pain? We're getting very PT into this now. Like, where in your range of motion do you have this painful arc or this possible torn labrum or something that's ailing him?
Well, that's the other thing too is I wonder if he's throwing like this because his normal mechanics are too painful.
Yeah. Well, clearly the sidearm mechanics were painful too. So I don't know, man. It's a tough spot for him. And again, the world is an unfair place, but Arch he's going to be heavily critiqued because of what the media did with him, and he did not deserve that. But if he comes out and Texas is 8-4 because he can't throw a pass and they don't make the playoff, people are going to shit all over him, and he didn't do anything. The kid is out here grinding, trying to fight through it, and I don't know. I still feel very confident with Ohio State's defense. Part of that is I watched Arch put 2 balls perfectly on a dime in those last 2 drives, so I think it's feasible.
Oh no, like I said, I'm not saying that I'm less confident in Ohio State's defense, but I think my initial reaction that wow, this defense is so much better than last year is maybe a little bit.
I think
was a little premature because maybe Texas's offense isn't as good as we anticipated it being.
the part I think they're better is they have a better defensive coordinator, a better teacher of what to do. And I think they're faster from the standpoint that they're more athletic. Jack Sawyer, as much as I loved him, he's not overly athletic. If you look at Arvell Reese now being a linebacker versus Cody Simon, what you can do with Arvell Reese that you couldn't do with Cody Simon. CJ Hicks is being utilized as a very effective pass rusher who wasn't utilized at all last year. Jalen McClain might be more of an athletic safety. Denzel Burke, as nice as he was for Ohio State for 4 years, Jermaine Matthews has been the better. Oh, my God, J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, boy.
Good. Get him down big so they have to keep throwing the ball. That was a horrible pick six. He's ass right now.
I completely forgot that he was their quarterback. Otherwise, I would not have bet on Minnesota tonight. That was so bad.
Handoff merchant.
Yeah. I mean,
Product of Connor Stallions. I don't know. Ryan said it earlier. Maybe.
I mean,
It helps.
people
when
are
you know-
asking.
It
People
helps
are
when
asking.
you know what the defense is going to run when you go to play the ball. Anyways, I think right now, from an athletic standpoint, Ohio State's defense is better. Do I think they're overall better? I would say that would be an overreaction because they don't have the veteran presence on that D line yet. Of the starting experience, they do have veterans, just not starters. So we'll see a test in 2 weeks when they're 3 weeks when they're at Seattle against Damon Williams and Denzel Boston and Jonah Coleman and Omari Evans and DeGraff, their tight end. So gonna get spicy.
What?
I'm making up words. I'm tired. I'm
Um,
sleepy.
have you watched Ole Miss at all this year?
No, why would I have any? I know they almost choked and lost to Kentucky again.
Well, they almost did, but Trey Wallace has actually looked kind of good, and I thought that was just kind of an interesting thing to bring up.
What are you talking about?
The Penn State transfer.
Yeah. And I think Omari Evans has been fine, hasn't he? I don't think he's putting
know
up
about-
like amazing stats, but
No. Trey Wallace has 9 catches and 250 yards through 2 games. Makes you think.
Maybe it's a quarterback problem.
Makes you think.
We're just throwing all kinds of stuff in the ether out here.
I'm just gonna.
Ryan's
shit
actually
on
commenting
everyone.
about Connor Stallions, and he has never made a comment about Connor Stallions until this
Just
point.
Trying to stir the pot here.
He is bringing up Trey Wallace and then insinuating that maybe Drew Aller's the problem and not the wide receivers. I mean, he's been there for 4 years.
Clinton, we're gonna find out who listens to this podcast with some of these takes.
Well, I bet it'll be the same people responding because everyone else is too chicken to say something to us.
No,
Please. We love the interaction. It's okay.
Yeah,
You're allowed
well.
to think our takes are wrong and are stupid.
Yeah, just
They're not, but it's
yeah,
okay.
You're wrong, but I'm right. Anyway,
Yeah.
I have nothing else unless
No,
you.
I'm good, man.
Cool.
We put in a good 56 minutes. I thought that was a great idea for you tonight to turn this from a stock up, stock down to
I told you I'm always right.
overreaction.
Told you
So
I'm
maybe
always right.
maybe this year instead of doing a stock up, stock down every so often, we do an overreaction, underreaction every few Mondays.
Yeah, it worked.
Go another 2 or 3 Mondays, check in again. Because in 2 more Mondays, we'll have an answer of Dylan Raiola and Michigan because they'll have played one another. And we'll have Indiana and Illinois answers.
That'll be fun.
We didn't even touch on under reactions for Indiana and Illinois on this one. So
No,
that could be spicy.
could be spicy. We'll be back with you guys on Thursday night, 9 p.m. for our weekly preview and pick'em show. Remember, guys, follow the show on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at ITPCFB. Make sure you are also subscribed to the podcast feed, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows. Wear it inside the Pylon of Midwest College Football Podcast. There, while you're there, leave a rating and a review. We would greatly appreciate it. And a reminder that we talked about at the beginning of the show, make sure you guys are looking at that, downloading the BattleBets app. You can find our league at battlebets.app/ITP. We will tweet that link out here. We'll keep tweeting it out throughout the course of the season. Join it, guys. Pick against us. Prove that you're smarter than us. That's the best way to prove that your takes are better than ours. You know more than us. Thank you. Have a good night.